Hey Nerf Herder, I'm Addy Thomas.
I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View, where we're talking about the Star Wars galaxy and exploring the world that's been created by George Lucas and many other people now who've contributed to this universe and, you know, our fandom in it and various topics. We're going to be talking a little bit about Star Wars Resistance, but we're also going to be talking about Extra Life today and the fun that Ben's going to be having this upcoming weekend.
You're having a little bit with me, buddy.
Yeah, at least some
You're
of
gonna
it.
Be there.
I'm not quite as hardcore to do the full 24. If this was a couple years ago, I would have done it, but I don't know.
Not this year?
Yeah.
You're just not up to it.
My sleep issues.
I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to get all the way through it.
I'm bringing you at least a box of energy drinks.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. I actually was kind of hoping that was the case.
Of course I'm going to do that.
Oh, I love you.
So we're going to be doing that, but I want to remind you that you can check out all of the other podcasts that are part of the Certain Point of View family. Not only do we have Certain Point of View, we have Another Pass with Case Aiken as he revisits movies. I'm really looking forward to hearing him put out the Green Lantern episode, which is a two-parter, so that's going to be a fun one, since that's one that's so close to my heart. And what's really fun is everyone who's sort of part of Certain Point of View, it's actually pretty close to all of our hearts. So it was fun hearing a group of people so like broken by Green Lantern fandom. It was really cathartic. So if you still are needing like that just moment of therapy and hope for what a Green Lantern franchise could be, it's a great pair of episodes to listen to when that comes out. We've also got the Scruffy Nerf Herders, a Star Wars D20 story, which is our D&D style adventure in the Star Wars galaxy. And here's the thing, if you like serious stories in the Star Wars galaxy, this might not be yours.
I'll tell you right now, this is not for you. There's nothing serious about this adventure.
I mean, some crazy stuff. I was laughing my ass off today on the way to work listening to it.
The new episode is amazing.
It's really good. There's some audio issues, but it was just the challenges we had with how we recorded it.
Yeah.
It was a little weird for me to get used to, but there's a lot of fun stuff in it. I'll also say there's Fun and Games with Matt and Jeff, our friends up in New York, as they explore video games. And, of course, Matt Storm from Fun and Games with Matt and Jeff and with his friend Mary are actually doing a playthrough of Mass Effect and doing the Reignite podcast. You can check out all of those shows on our website, certainpov.com. I've spent enough time with our guest here, just like staring, waiting, just anticipation.
It's like, say my name.
Jumping in.
Say my name. Say my name.
Jason, thanks for joining us.
Welcome back, buddy.
I know. My second time.
Yeah, the first time you meant to come in and be a defender of the anti-Last Jedi crowd.
Yep.
And you did
and it was a little lackluster.
I was full peacemaker mode.
Yeah.
And not marauder.
Yeah, you didn't come for a fight. You were too nice and agreeable.
Being my first time, I wanted to come back.
You wanted the invite back? Yeah, that's not how you get it on this show.
No, you got to be a dick.
I should go.
You have to know, with him being on this show like regularly, you kind of have to match, you know.
Well, I don't know if I could do that, but yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But it's a bar that's there for you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's good to have goals.
Yeah, it really
reach
is.
for the sky type of thing
or you know, reach down.
Right.
Would you
well, for us is really tough, especially with our weight. Like, oh my god,
difficult to
putting
bend
my
over.
Socks on.
It's getting colder out. Socks
right?
are important.
It really are at this point in time.
We're going to talk about Extra Life we're actually going to talk about Star Wars Resistance in the latest episode in just a moment. We had episode 4, The Tower, just come out this past weekend. But before we get to that, I actually have a gift for Ben.
Goodness, look at this. This is a huge box. What is this? This is like...
This might change your schedule. So you're streaming. Well, go ahead and while you're opening that.
Okay.
You're streaming for 24 hours for Extra Life because you're raising funds for Children's Hospital through Extra Life. You've already been doing some Twitch streaming. You've already been raising some money. Like, you're already past $1,000, right?
The team is.
Yeah.
The Certain Point of View team is over $1,000.
Yeah, and your goal is $2,000, right?
Yeah, my personal goal is $2,000, and we're over $900 already.
And so, what are some of while you're opening that? What are some of the games you're planning to play?
Well,
Heavy Dose of World of Warcraft.
Heavy Dose of World of Warcraft. You and I are starting the day off 8 a.m. Saturday morning on the 3rd. We're going to be playing some World of Warcraft. We're going to do the Horde side, do the run through of the Horde side, because neither one of us have done that yet, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
I started, but I'll start with a different tune then.
Right, because I know you have like 17 that are just waiting to get started.
Hey, I've only maxed one character so far.
I know, and I've maxed 2. I'm so proud of myself.
This is so different. The roles have been reversed here.
I know.
But then you're also planning. What else? What else are you planning?
So after about 8 hours of that, we're gonna well, not 8 hours. About I don't know a bunch of hours.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break. And we're going to come upstairs because we're doing it here at my place. And we're going to come upstairs and we're going to play a little bit of Oregon Trail, the card game.
Yeah, baby.
Have you played this yet? This game is impossible.
I haven't, but I haven't played it yet.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Aiden loves this game.
Yeah.
We're going to teach Melanie how to play it, and it's going to be a blast. Like, they're both super excited about that.
That's a gateway game.
It really
Right.
is. It really is. And it's a perfect, like, nerd computer gamey thing, even though it's a card game. So that'll give us, like, a break from staring at screens, let our eyes rest a little bit. And then we'll eat, and then we're going to Aiden is going to play a little bit of World of Warcraft himself.
Nice.
He's going to do a 2-hour stream of World of Warcraft himself, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
awesome.
super excited. I told him this morning, and he was like, "What? What do I do? What do I say?" He's all excited. He's got a night elf rogue.
Yeah,
that he's
I'm
just
so proud
that he's
of that.
rolled. Yeah, he's totally into elves.
Yeah.
You got to walk him through that.
Oh
He's like,
yeah, I mean, that's
Told
totally my
yourself?
jam too. So
Yeah, you
I'm
got
a Night
that.
Elf fan. So
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to do BlizzCon. You and I are going to sit down and watch the World of Warcraft event for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
We'll do a running commentary through that, probably while we play like some Diablo or
Yeah.
Heroes of the Storm or something like that.
Sure.
And then the UFC fight is on. My friend Wendell is going to come over. I'm going to be playing some Diablo,
Nice.
watch the UFC fight, commentate over that because I've got some thoughts about the UFC. And then the hard part starts at midnight because that's when everybody else goes home.
The slog.
right. Oh, I'll be home already by that time.
Addy is like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm see you, fool.
Yeah.
You said you'd do this for the kids. So then it'll be, just the overnight slog of getting to 8 a.m. And what somebody reminded me at the radio station today was that this is the weekend where we do the whole jump
Oh,
Yeah.
fall back. So there's an extra hour in there.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So I may be ending 7 instead of 8. So it may not look like I did all 24 hours, but
Right.
I'll have that extra hour in there overnight. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, okay, what is this, Addy? Seriously,
I've been wanting to get this for a
just
while. To be
open the
honest.
box.
Yep.
That's a huge box.
Oh, my God. Star Wars Jedi Challenges? Are you kidding me? You son of a bitch.
I know,
this is
right?
amazing. How are we going to play this?
Yeah, I looked up some ways how to cast how to Twitch stream.
Yeah?
Like VR on your phone.
Yeah?
And I found some instructions. So as long as we get it set up and tested and it works with our system, you'll get a chance to do some Jedi challenges on VR. You can set up a webcam so you'll see us looking like idiots in VR, but thinking we're cooler than we actually look.
Like flailing around like idiots. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited by this. Oh, my goodness.
The only thing that sucks is... sucks it is also amazing, but we'd have to get a second one to be able to duel each other. But for now, you got this. So.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Right?
Why would you put that in my head?
Well, Christmas is coming up.
Christmas. This weekend is coming up.
Right.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah. At the very least, you and Aiden and Melanie can enjoy it.
This is going to be you and me.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
Yeah,
every
us
day,
too.
every week when you come over to record the podcast. And Jason, you're welcome to come over. I know what a huge fan you are of the Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I'm huge. Now, can you tell, like, for our listeners that aren't familiar with this game, what exactly
Star
is
Wars
this?
Jedi
'Cause
Challenges?
I'm one of those listeners right now. So yeah. So just,
How much of a Star Wars fan are you really?
there's so much. The volume is so high now. It's just like I've just kind of like dialed it back a little bit.
Size matters not, man.
Oh, well played.
Nice.
This is a
So it's
VR
basically
game.
it's actually it's augmented reality. It's not full VR, so
Okay.
you will see the environment around you, but you can duel against, like, you'll have different opponents to face. I know Kylo Ren for sure you can face off against. I believe Maul and Vader are on the list as well, but they have updates where they have other people you can duel. They have I think they also have, you can play Sabacc, you can play what's the name of the chess game? on the Falcon. I believe that's also on there.
Oh my god!
So there's lots of games within it.
Nerd test,
right? Yeah, I know. Right? Daedric.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so I mean, there's a strategy game that's also part of it, like sort of like a holo strategy games, like if you're doing like the Assault on Hoth or something like that, and you're commanding the troops. So there's all sorts of built-in games with that. Runs off of your phone and everything. It's got the headset in it. It's got
This is not the Saber one where you do
not Beat Saber.
It's not Beat Saber. That's what that is. Okay, this is the other one.
That you need an actual VR set for. So this is augmented reality.
Okay.
Because I tried doing some research to find out if this headset would work as a VR set. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Okay.
So if we were, because I do want like Beat Saber also.
Beat Saber looks like a great workout.
Yeah, right. I feel like I'd be winded after 5 minutes.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
So this uses your phone, not like a PC or anything like that?
Right.
Yeah.
So this, you use a smartphone, insert it into the headset and everything. So
this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So cool. You got to come over and watch.
It's going to be like
play.
the Blast helmet, right?
Yeah.
Blast helmet
I can't see anything with this shield on.
It's great. I've seen the movie.
That's great. Thank you, Addy. Yeah, so you're right. So, yeah, that'll probably pop up in the middle of the day.
I'll send you the link for the setup for Twitch.
Yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow.
So, before we get into more Extra Life, we're going to talk about Star Wars Resistance, and just to let you know, we're going to have spoilers in this. This is a spoiler show. We don't really hold off from any of that. So we had a brand new episode of Star Wars Resistance. This is episode 4, and we had some more developments in this in sort of the building out of the First Order picture versus the Republic, or the New Republic, and just kind of the landscape of the Star Wars galaxy going into The Force Awakens.
So I'm just speaking as a Star Wars fan who's been frozen in carbonite for a little bit. So tell me about Resistance. What's the and it's strange to have a guest on the show who does not know what you're talking about, but
no, that's good. It's good.
This is how brave I am.
Because we don't know what we're talking about. So you're in good company.
So where does Resistance take place in the Star Wars canon?
So as I understand it, it is shortly before The Force Awakens. I don't know how shortly before, but I do.
That all is determined by how many seasons it goes.
Well, so here's the thing: the show is actually intended to overlap with The Force Awakens at some point. Okay. So
it feels very close.
Yeah,
like maybe a year out.
And is Rey in it at all, or is it?
No. So this is New Republic. There's no Force users at the moment, and there's a good chance we may not get any Force users on this show. Currently, you're on a platform that's out past the Outer Rim, and just a platform out on the ocean where there's basically, ship races, basically airship races. And you have, It's sort of a scum and villainy type of deal. Like, kind of imagine Mos Eisley on a platform out in the middle of a water planet. Okay. But this is in an area that's like well in between New Republic space and also First Order space. And so it's a little bit of a Wild West vibe on this platform. And this one, the main character we're following, Kazuto, was formerly a pilot for the New Republic, who is now a spy for the Resistance, working for Poe to spy and find a mole for the First Order.
Okay. Are we ever going to have an Imperial Academy type show at all, where we're inside the Imperial Academy?
I don't know.
We got a little bit of that in Rebels. There was those couple episodes.
There are moments we've gotten insight into it. I don't know if we'll ever get a main series. I think the closest, and this is where I'm a little bitter, I need to play through it. I heard it left a bit of a bad taste with a lot of people, is Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 took the perspective of Imperial, like the Imperial side, and that's how they marketed it heavily. But from what I heard, it was like 2 missions before your main character already defects to the Rebel Alliance. So it's just kind of like, like it was
the career path I wanted.
Right, like you wanted to see what kind of who are the people that are part of
what's it like
the
to be a stormtrooper?
Yeah, exactly. And like, why would you want to be one if you know that because we're so used to seeing them as the bad guys, it'd be very interesting to see a little bit more built out on that side. So I think like an Imperial Academy series is unlikely, because I think, especially for an animated series, because I think that, you don't necessarily want to make your hero a bad guy at the end of the day, especially for
marketing for kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think Star Wars, and this is true of both Disney and Lucas, is still going to market first to kids before anybody else. We may come to the day one day where we get R-rated Star Wars, but I think that is very, very far in the future if it happens at all, to be honest.
Seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah, especially with Disney, but I think Lucas just as much too. Yeah. Especially because if you look at Clone Wars, it doesn't mean that you can never get into anything mature. Like, he will stretch that to a PG-13. I mean, as we saw with Revenge of the Sith.
Now, they announced with Favreau's show, right? John Favreau's producing a Star Wars live-action show.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. Where is that going to air at? Is that going to air on a network that has...
On the Disney streaming. So,
okay.
Yeah, the question is, what is the rating that's going to be on Disney streaming? I'm kind of the opinion that they're not going to stretch anything on Disney streaming past PG-13 because of the Disney name brand. But there's no reason they couldn't. It's like Netflix, so...
Disney After Dark.
Right.
Well, I mean, Disney for all those years owned Miramax, and funded that. I mean, it was all under the Miramax title. Nobody ever really talked that it was really a Disney owned property. But what happens to all those Miramax properties that they could stream? Are they gonna put that on the Disney streaming service?
Right.
Who knows? I guess we'll find out next year.
Well, with all the other properties that they bought from Fox, there's going to be plenty of stuff that may not. Like, are you going to put you're not going to put Family Guy on are you going to put Family Guy on the Disney streaming service? Like, that's even though that's not rated R, I mean, that's still pretty edgy.
It's not a kid friendly show.
Well, I know the Family Channel. Remember when CBN owned the Family Channel? Then they sold it. Did they sell it to Fox or one of the whatever the content started to change and it started to be less like standard family stuff and more a little edgier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if we'll see the same thing with Disney or what family values really mean for Disney going forward.
Right.
Or maybe they just put it all behind like a parental control wall. I mean that's what you get with Amazon.
Yeah,
it's all parental controlled. It's very easy to set up and control what my kids watch. And I'm like, yeah, sure, you have access to Amazon, but you only have access to what I say you have access to. Yeah. And then when they're in bed, then Jenny and I just hit the button and watch whatever we want to watch. So there's no reason they couldn't do that.
I also feel like with violence, I feel like in America anyway, violent television has never been like. I mean, granted, sometimes it gets an R-rated. But even in the church, it's not a forbidden thing to watch a violent film. I felt like most of the time.
Sex is always the big thing.
Yeah, right. That's the forbidden zone.
Yeah.
So I could see at least action, at least the Avengers style.
Yeah.
Well, that for sure will be
for sure. Yeah.
There's no way they're not they're putting the MCU all in front and center.
But they get away with that because like they're fighting Ultron robots, they're fighting aliens. Like very rarely is there a lot of human violence, and that's how most of those things get away with that kind of stuff. Like if it was like human, if they were like ripping, like they ripped the Ultron robots apart, if they were doing that to people, like that would be a very different movie.
Like Walking Dead won't probably be a version of The Walking Dead won't be on Disney.
No,
probably
not.
I mean, who knows? Again, they could do it behind parental controls. I mean, they have such a huge catalog. That being said, I agree with you, Addy. I don't think we'll see a rated R, anything close to rated R for Star Wars content.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I know people can pitch that content. I mean,
especially
when it comes to
it.
like a Vader, series or something like that. But I think that stuff does better sometimes in comics. Sometimes we've got the VR thing that's coming up next year, I believe. So I mean, there are other ways to tell that story without necessarily having to do it in live action or in animation, where you can kind of get into the darkness. Books are a great place to hit that. So coming back around to Resistance though, so Kazuto, he's our viewpoint character. He's a spazzy character. He's clumsy.
He's a teenage boy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's put it, so like all Star Wars heroes, he's young and upcoming, and he's naive
and arrogant.
Yeah, and arrogant all at once. So, he's a little different this time because he comes from a place of privilege instead of coming from poverty this time, which is I think the one big distinction between him and Luke and Rey and Ezra, who is the main point of view character for Rebels.
Yep. And Anakin.
Yeah, and Anakin
in Clone Wars,
and Ahsoka. We never really she was a Padawan, but she wasn't they never really established if it was from poverty or not. So,
so no more Charles Dickens style Star Wars.
Well, at least this time. Yeah. Well, next time it probably will be.
To be honest with you, it doesn't really it doesn't feel much different.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
Well, I think you need a different type of character, which we'll come to in a moment. So the subject for this episode is the tower, and so he's continuing his search for the First Order mole. What ends up happening is this platform has to shut down power because they're low on fuel, and while they do that, he discovers that the First Order is bringing in this shipment of fuel. He sort of clumsily spies on the leader of this platform, finds out that the First Order is trying to pressure him into a deal with them in exchange for fuel. He's not crazy about it, but it looks like he's going to end up having to cave in. There's a bunch of hijinks that ensue with him being chased by First Order stormtroopers throughout the platform. But we find out a little bit more of the First Order trying to sort of establish a foothold here. So,
well, I'm excited just because, I mean, you're mentioning the thing that I loved about Last Jedi, right? Fuel.
It's a thing.
The fantasy space opera that you grew up on, needs its commodities. So.
It's funny because that's like a huge part of Rebels and Clone Wars. Those are there's so many runs for fuel on both of those shows.
Yeah, it is. It has become a major point for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I guess that's why it never really I was like, whatever.
Yeah, we've seen. Yeah, if you've watched the Clone Wars, you were like, oh, okay, fuel. That makes sense. Yeah, we do that all the time. There's a lot of adventures finding fuel.
Probably Rebels more than any of the others. I think they made more fuel runs. It's because of being the rebellion and they were
always short on fuel.
Yeah.
So we're continuing that tradition.
Yeah. So, fuel stories if you're in for it.
I'm thinking as a Star Trek fan, I'm thinking do we have a lot of fuel stories? We definitely had dilithium crystal stories.
Yeah.
Right.
In Star Trek, but I don't recall, any huge, we ran out of gas story.
Well, it was interesting because the episode before was all about them stealing some rare hyperfuel that was real high octane hyperfuel for these fighter pilots to go cruising fast. So they've done some really interesting world building with it. It's not just a MacGuffin. It is a real commodity. It is a real issue in the cartoons of oh god, we really need this stuff. We can't. I remember, I think there were some episodes in Rebels where they were well, we can't do that because we don't have fuel to get there.
Right.
We want to save these people, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes some interesting moral dilemmas of what are they willing to do to get this fuel.
Especially for the end of the series for Lothal in Rebels, it made the stakes so much higher. I mean, the fuel depot is one of the big landmark moments in that series and one of the best Star Wars moments, period.
Yeah.
Easily one of my favorite Star Wars moments including the movies. Because of that,
it's kind of funny. I mean, it just reminds me of the prequels, right? When Lucas instituted the trade, a trade war.
Yeah,
and just the excitement that was met with.
Yeah.
You're like,
yes,
good, a trade war. Yeah, that's great. Tariffs are fantastic.
Speaking of this blockade of a planet in the first
with one
ship. Yeah, you can't fly around to the other side of the planet.
Right.
Everybody had to leave, and there's
only one way off this planet. It's right through that ship.
At least they fixed that with Rogue One, right? Where you have the shield.
Yes.
That's the only way in and out of that.
Yeah.
Space. So.
Yeah, that's tough.
Anyway.
Yeah. There's some rougher moments.
It's not always easy to be a Star Wars
fan.
When
you with all of that, fuel seems actually one of the best options, if you ask me, in that perspective.
It's better than a blockade.
Yeah, and economic sanctions. And
where
we're gonna go with it.
Senate meetings.
Yeah, if I wanted to watch that, I'd just watch Fox News.
Yeah.
God forbid. So yeah, I liked this episode. Okay, I found myself not enthralled with it like I was the first three episodes.
Yeah.
I liked the introduction of Hype Phazon.
Yes, who's a character I've been excited for a while.
So this is so there's all of these. You know what this is going to sell you on this episode.
I feel like a Mikey with the bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
he's going to like it. Is he going to like it?
How does it compare to Rebels and like just for the first 4
It's
episodes?
so early.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
okay.
It's hard to tell.
But I think
they're still doing a lot of establishing.
I'm on the train of like, oh yeah, it's pretty similar. Like they're still doing the establishing, but I feel like you, and I've also talked to our buddy David, and he's a bit like, I'm sort of meh right now about the series, but I'm all like, oh, I'm thinking about the potential for the series, and I'm like,
no, there's a ton of potential, but it's not great yet.
Yeah.
But where you will connect with it is, remember that episode of Buck Rogers?
Yes.
Where they were
speaking my language.
I know, right? Look deep into my eyes. That episode of Buck Rogers where they're doing the race through space, and they've got like that course that they got to go through.
Vaguely.
Yeah, and
there's
like
a long time back.
yeah, I know it has been, but it's like one of the episodes of Buck Rogers that always stuck with me. Of like they're flying through space, and he's got to like maneuver through this course, and you can't quite see where everything's at. And so like, you know, they're doing like these really bad 70s, 80s effects of like the ship bouncing up against like these invisible force field walls, and they're blowing up and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what these pilots do on like a daily basis. Is like they have like this course set up out on the ocean off this platform, and they all race to try and see who the best pilot is, and then those pilots then go
and that's
on
what they
to
do just
fame
in
and fortune.
this time right now is they're racing, but it is setting up for dogfighting. Like that's already been promised in this series. Is there's a lot more emphasis on the pilots. Okay. So you know, and that was actually what first attracted me to Star Wars, was actually the dogfighting more than even the Force. You know, like very quickly I got into the Force and all, and the Jedi and all of that. But
Luke's
I mean,
a pilot,
right?
And Han Solo's a pilot.
He knows a couple maneuvers.
It starts off with him talking to Biggs.
Spinning is fun.
It's a lot of
right.
Spinning's a good trick.
See, fans of the original trilogy, I feel like dogfighting is a much bigger deal in the original trilogy than
Obi-Wan.
Pilot. Yeah.
Although he doesn't like it. Yeah,
he doesn't like it. Boba Fett. Pilot.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so this is a bigger emphasis in this series, and the other thing that is established is, so we've already been established in this series the aces, and these are some of the top pilots on this platform, and they have access to this special lounge on this tower that's much better, in much better condition than the rest of the platform.
They're given like good food and drink and wonderful loving
thoroughbreds.
Yes. Yeah. They're your pro athletes, and then you have like the scrubs down on the bottom who are just trying to survive and keep everything going.
And Hype Phazon is a character that they introduce in this. Well, they've already introduced him, but we actually get to meet him in this episode. And apparently, one of the other characters that's part of this crew that Kaz is working with, Tam, she's sort of a mechanic with a chip on her shoulder. She was friends with Hype, but was left behind as he kind of ascended the ranks on this platform, and he's a little bit more of like, he's there for the glory. I mean, his name is Hype. He's voiced by Donald Faison.
Okay.
And it's a great. I mean, that was the moment I heard that he was voiced by Donald Faison, I was already a fan. Yeah. So And he's sort of like the kind of guy that has like the suit looks like he's in NASCAR and everything. He's got the sponsorships and everything. So nice. It's a fun dynamic. I'm looking forward to when they introduce some more of the aces.
We got to see them, but we didn't get to actually interact with any of them.
Exactly.
Like there's an old TIE fighter pilot who's still wearing like this old beat up TIE fighter.
And his ship is a modded TIE fighter too.
Oh, cool.
So
so it's got a lot of like really interesting elements that they're putting in place. But again, they're still kind of like just putting everything in place. It's 4 episodes in. The episodes are only like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So they haven't done.
They have
a ton.
to be. They're focusing on character first, and so if you're not necessarily a huge fan of Kaz, then this is a little tougher for you. But here's the thing: this was the exact template for Rebels and for Clone Wars, because people hated Ahsoka when that series first started. Like they thought it was an abomination to Star Wars when Ahsoka came out, because just the fact that Anakin had a Padawan during the Clone Wars that we never heard of. Yeah, wow. And that was a female character was another thing that people complained about. I remember it was huge. I mean, it was an alien character.
Social justice warriors shoving their ideas down our throats.
And she was pretty, and she was kind of bratty and
she was
mouthy.
super bratty. Yeah.
But like that was part of the character arc for her, and
now she's like one of the most beloved characters. In Star
all
Wars
of
history.
Star Wars. Yeah, and then Ezra, very similar path. He was kind of like I remember people calling him Space Aladdin. And, he's a poor kid and
steals stuff to survive.
Yeah, sort of scrappy and mouthy and clumsy.
Even kind of looks like Aladdin with the hair.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, and I think maybe people are slightly more divided on Ezra, maybe depending on your perspective. But I think I'd like to say he's pretty well liked.
I think people like Ezra. Yeah.
Yeah.
The new kid Kaz is cut from the same cloth. I mean, they changed up the backstory to make him like a kid from privilege, but like I call him Ezra too.
Yeah,
because I can never remember his name. And now, that's all he is. I'm sure they'll develop more.
I do like your idea of like you mentioned today in chat that Hype would be a better character to be the main character, just because he's a very different type of character. He's a character that has already achieved a lot and is arrogant and has sort of left people behind, and that's a huge departure from sort of the somewhat
come from
rising from obscurity. Yeah. So and while this yes, Kaz is different. It would be interesting if they need. I do hope that the next series around they go for something a little bit different in terms of like at least the starting point for the character.
I feel like you always get a greater buy-in on a TV show if you like set up everything and then do something unexpected, right?
Right.
Like Game of Thrones, right? Like what they did to Ned,
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there'll be some characters from this early season of Resistance.
I hope so. I hope they kill BB-8.
Yeah.
I'm really over BB-8 in this show.
He's in the show.
He is in the show, and that is the one thing that I really don't like.
Wow.
I really don't like BB-8.
I'm a BB-8 fan. I'm all right.
I like BB-8, but
there's BB-8 Ex Machina right now.
He can do everything.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
The water for a couple of episodes.
I hope so. I hope they do something to get him off of that platform and back with Poe where he belongs.
You'll have to if this overlaps with Force Awakens.
Right. So he can't be there for too much longer. I hope.
Well, at some point the war's got to break out too. So we'll
he's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm really not. Make a new droid. He's like there's so much opportunity.
Yeah, that's always one of the fun things with Star Wars droids is there are always fun personalities to add into the mix.
Yeah,
so
but you don't need to do BB-8. It's just a weird choice.
Yeah,
I don't like that choice. I feel like that's a choice that's very clearly a toy grab.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Which is Star Wars. It's right in Star Wars, wheelhouse, but still.
Were there toys for Rebels?
Yeah.
It took a little while, but eventually, it didn't come out right out of the gate. But I think that's also an issue with a lot of animated shows, which is funny because you think with Star Wars,
that's not true. That's not true because I remember going to Target and seeing Ezra's lightsaber blaster.
Yeah, but that was after the first season.
No, it was not.
You
sure? No, sir. I am positive because Aiden wanted that thing so bad, and by Aiden I mean
except he didn't get it until the end of the first season.
The lightsaber blaster.
Yeah,
he had the blaster. You're right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. He didn't make it to the end of the first season.
Yep.
Yeah, you win.
Yep.
Star Wars toys always take a little while to get to market. Occasionally,
Well,
based on the original.
Based on the original. Years. But now with Disney, they make sure those toys get out.
I'm sure.
Yeah. There's no delay
they're not leaving
there.
them behind. But with the animated shows, I do think there's a little bit more of delay because I do think because toy sales are so much more important to animated shows, I think they do wait to do a little bit of testing. Yeah.
Now here's a question that is kind of off kilter, but growing up like in our generation, toys were essential for play.
Yeah.
They were a huge part like on the playground or whatever. Yeah. You bring your Transformers, bring in your Star Wars toys. I had to write my last initial on the foot of
right.
Star
my God,
toys.
yeah,
of course,
because I didn't want somebody.
Yeah, somebody would snag it.
Yeah. So what do you feel like kids nowadays? It's the iPad. It's not like the physical toys. It's more about interactive experiences.
Well, for me and my kid, so Aiden is 10, and he would rather play on an iPad than have a physical toy for the most part. Although he loves Legos, he'll play with Legos, and he loves Star Wars Legos. But yeah, they're much more enthralled with an electronic entertainment than a toy at this point in time.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think the toy sales. I think the kids definitely still buy them and play with them. So I think a lot of parents buy kids toys, whether they want them or not.
I just wonder if the vintage toy market is going to be for this generation what it is for us.
Apps. I remember Angry Birds. I got an Angry Bird app, man. I got an old iPad so I could run Angry Birds.
Gen 3, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because I get the feeling that a lot of the toy market stuff is driven by collectors.
Yeah, I think
people
so.
our age.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Like, what is going to happen in 20, 30 years? Like,
yes and no, though, because if you see some of the toys that are out there, like they're, as far as like action figures are concerned, yeah, I do think it's more collectors. Because you see, I think Star Wars is the Black Series. That's sort of the Hasbro.
Yeah, that's clearly designed to collectors.
For collectors.
Yeah.
And like even the way they have the mounts for even the tiny like die-cast figures, like still, like those are still more.
Yeah, I'm not going to give
collectors.
that to a 10-year-old kid, right?
Right, but then like I've seen like the Transformer Jedi bot type of stuff, like that's more like okay, like that is definitely more engineered for a kid. That's not a collector thing. So I think there is still.
There's definitely still some toys out there for them.
Yeah.
But I think like when you go down the aisle at a Walmart or Target
it is much
or whatever,
smaller than what it once was.
It's much smaller, and a majority of it is geared to collectors already.
Yeah. I feel like Legos are the only holdout to that. I think Legos have still held
generational.
Yeah. And it is like I mean even now like I still like look at Legos and I'm like I do want that set. I really want that.
It appeals.
I bought Legos. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I bought some like because now there's specialty Legos and you can buy. Like, people can design their own sets and sell them, so...
I want that Star Destroyer so bad.
That big, giant, like, 6-foot Star Destroyer. That is ridiculous.
I just saw that they have, like, custom furniture for you to display your Lego creation.
Right.
Of course,
like the Falcon, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like, wow, that's
a lot.
Yeah.
You're really going to love your Legos.
You're already investing in it to the degree, and what are you going to do with it? It's so huge.
Yeah.
So.
You got to display it. My son has I think you got it for him, Addy, the TIE Fighter.
Yeah, I did.
And it's it's a 1.5 feet tall and wide, and he displays it in his room. He's got some shelves in his room. It sits up on his shelf with some other Star Wars memorabilia and stuff. He loves it.
I love Legos.
He loves it. I do not.
Really?
I don't. I've never liked Legos.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
I just like the creative aspect of like putting together. Like,
I like that too. I get frustrated because they fall apart so easily.
True.
That frustrates me so badly that I get frustrated, and I'm just like, screw these things. Like I don't even want to deal with it. Like
I wonder. Like I know for me, I'm very like if I'm handling anything of any value, you know, like I'm very gingerly handling things. I wonder if that comes from playing with Legos. You know, you have a certain like I'm very careful with where what I touch stuff, just because like so many of my creations. You know,
crumbled in your hands.
Yeah. Or they're like, oh yeah, this thing's just snap off. Or you're like, if I'm not careful, if I drop this, it's gone.
It's done.
It's a roundabout way of saying, Ben, you're rude,
clumsy,
and uncouth.
Yes, I'm clumsy and yeah. No, that's true. It is true. Like I watch my son play with it, and like he's addicted to Legos, and he'll sit for hours and just like put and make up new stuff and create stuff. I mean, he's got thousands of Legos in his room that he'll just play with, and it's incredible. I love watching him play with it, and he's always like, "Papa, come and play with me." And I'm like, "No, no, son, we're not building any memories today." And then I go listen to Cat's in the Cradle and cry, and then I send Jenny in to help him with the Legos. All true stories.
I'm adding that to our playlist now.
Cat's Cradle? Oh, yeah. Great call.
It'll just pop up in the middle of like a really intense moment. I'm hoping he goes forget about Dre and then Cat's the Cradle.
Cat's Cradle.
Now, Cat's Cradle, is that Yusef or is that?
That's Cat.
That's Cat.
That's Cat Stevens. Yeah.
Now known as Yusef.
Yusef.
Knows his new name.
Yeah, yeah. He's an amazing musician. I love his voice, and that song is so good. That song is classic.
Interesting story too with him walking away from music. I mean, total segue here, but
yeah. Crazy.
Great musician. Like, he was on top of the world.
Yeah, he had it all.
Yeah.
Had it all. Found Muhammad.
We're living in Cat Stevens' world right now. But we just didn't, a lot of people don't know that. But
yeah, you're right.
He was big. Right.
He was massive. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Had it all.
So, of course, the big thing coming up this weekend is Extra Life, your 24-hour stream. We already mentioned Star Wars Jedi Challenge is going to be happening, some World of Warcraft, and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Heroes of the Storm.
So pretty much mostly Blizzard games and a little bit of Star Wars sprinkled in.
Yep. I love my Blizzard games on the computer and the PC. I'm addicted.
Fanboys.
Yeah, the only game I don't play from Blizzard is Overwatch, and I've been tempted.
You don't
with the new computer,
shooters,
with the new computer and the big giant screen, I'm thinking I might try it.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
I might try it.
What about Fortnite? I hear that's what all the kids are playing.
Oh yeah,
now,
all the kids love that. Fortnite and PUBG. Yeah, those are the big ones.
Have you guys gotten into those at all?
I haven't even tried it once.
I stay away from first-person shooters. I don't. I'm not good at them. I'm not good at them because I get motion sickness. Like, I get really sick playing those games up to this point. I want to try it. Maybe it's just technology. Whatever, hadn't caught up to my eyes. And now maybe there's a chance. Yeah, the frame rate was awful for me, and I would literally get sick to my stomach playing it. Like, we used to have Call of Duty when you lived with me. We would play Call of Duty
for a little bit.
Yeah, and I would I'd play for a while and be like, I gotta put this down. I don't feel good. Like, I'm gonna barf. It's not cool.
Yeah, especially the later ones. The World War II ones, we were all right.
Yeah,
it was once they got to Modern Warfare, because I felt the same way. Like, I felt like.
It's too much.
Yeah, it was a sensory overload for me.
Yeah.
I feel like an old man like talking about video games.
Yeah.
Like,
so we're gonna be streaming Dig Dug.
We're actually just gonna be streaming Ben and I talking about the weather from the porch
as we rock on our rockers and
get to know
how our bones are ache.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about various aches.
Yeah, my knees really hurt today. There must be a cold front coming in.
All the good things government's doing.
Right.
Well, that'll be a short conversation.
So we've been mostly in the Blizzard games. Shooters are. I don't know what it is. I
have Overwatch.
Yeah, I have Overwatch. Overwatch is a very different game from most shooters. I mean, from the sensory standpoint, not as much, but like Star Wars Battlefront. The first Battlefront and Battlefront, the original Battlefront 2 were the games that I played. But the current ones, I didn't really get into for very good reasons because there wasn't a lot to get into.
Yeah, they were not well-received games.
No, they were not. But yeah, I don't know what it is about shooters. Like, I can be all right at them, but with the new category of shooters that you're talking about, like Fortnite and PUBG are the Battle Royale type ones. They look interesting. They look fascinating. I think I'm a little bit more interested in them than Ben is.
I'm more interested in PUBG than I am in Fortnite. I don't like the building aspect of Fortnite.
And that's exactly what I like about Fortnite is the building and the scraps and like being able to build a defensive structure and maneuver with it does add an interesting element to it. So, but shooters have never been my favorite format of games. Yeah. Even to be perfectly honest, even RPGs really were never my favorites either. I think I was always more of a strategy gamer and I loved combat flight sims.
So tune in next week when Addy streams Civ 5 and plays half a game in 16 hours.
That is the only game I've actually played for more than 24 hours straight.
Really?
And I just didn't lost track of time. I was just sitting and kept on taking turn after
Civ
turn.
5 or
no,
Civ
this was
4?
Civilization 3.
3, okay.
It was 3. I just kept on going.
Well, we did that one overnight game of Civ 5 with you, me, Gene, and J-Mike.
Yeah, see, Civ for me is a total, I like it single player. I don't like it multiplayer. It's just not, it was fun, don't get me wrong. There was definitely aspects that are fun.
Story behind this is we decide we're all going to get together and have a LAN party, play some Civ 5. We're all going to be in the same room so we can talk smack with each other and keep the game moving because it's such a slow-ass game.
Yeah.
And because we had been playing on
It's a thinking man game. It's like you...
So
it is. That's why you sucked at it.
I was doing great, and then I got bored.
Yeah. Is it like Age of Empires? I think that was the one what I played like back in the day. Was Age
kind
of Empires.
of,
but
Age
it's way more involved.
Yes, like you can get down to manage like city budgets and stuff like that. So it's more Sim City than it is Age of Empires.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Addy and everybody else are like trying to build wonders and all of these like great civilization stuff, and I'm just like, I got swords. Let's see what they do.
Which is actually probably more like the real world, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, except then like if you do that too much, then your empire starts falling apart because your people are like, oh my god, you're too militaristic, you know? Like I've played the game without ever battling people, and I have fun with it, you know? That's the thing. Civ is so different.
Yeah.
Like I've played the game like when in Civ 3, I think is when they introduced it. You could actually build your culture up to the point where people from other civilizations were like, oh my god, you're so much more civilized than we are, we're gonna join you. So like I'd have whole empires just defecting because like the quality of life was so much better.
And I was like, I'll kill him before he gets to that point.
You can see how different we are here.
I'll run a sword through him before I let that happen.
I'd be curious to see, like, if you surveyed like local governments, like how many people plays. You know,
none.
Had the type of
no, our government, I don't think. Yeah,
I don't think it happens.
Yeah.
I've been in those government buildings. Those computers couldn't possibly run it.
True. That's true. Or maybe Oregon Trail.
Yes, yes. They're still playing Hunt the Wampus. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. We start 8 a.m. Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to hopefully 8 a.m. Sunday morning.
Or 7 a.m.
7 a.m., depending on how I feel. I may only make it till 2 a.m. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But I am excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're raising money for a great charity. Children's Miracle Network Hospitals has had a huge impact on my family's story, as you guys know, but maybe the person listening doesn't know. Both of my kids spent, I think Jenny and I counted it up, and it was over 40 days as like a full-time patient inside Children's Miracles Network Hospital. And we still go back to this very day. My daughter still goes there for several doctors that she's still seeing for some lingering problems. So like we spend a lot of time at that place. For a while there, like they knew Jenny by first name. She would just like walk in and they're, hi Jenny, good to see you again. Go right on in. So it's had a big impact on our life and our kids' lives. It's literally saved their lives. So I'm really proud and excited to be able to raise some money for them. And so you'll be able to see that on the Certain Point of View Facebook page, on our Twitch stream. You'll be able to see it on twitch.tv/oldben. And then Facebook, you can find the stream at facebook.com/cpovben.
You can also just go to certainpov.com
and find it
and
there. And
all those links are going to be there.
Yes, they are.
So,
you can
also
find
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So excited about that. Jason, you're here because you were helping me create some videos for it. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, now that you put it out there, I guess I got to finish them. So.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
Yeah, this is releasing tomorrow, so it's already going to be out.
Oh, man, so yeah, the clock is ticking for me. So
Here's your pressure. Here's your pressure. This is your extra life.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for doing that. You're a fantastic videographer. I can't wait to see the work. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you for their own work, if they want to, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me my Gmail. I haven't put a site up there because most videographers you meet, the last thing we're thinking about is publicizing ourselves, or
right.
Unless you're under the age of 20. But
then that's all you do. You don't have any content. You're just interested in promoting yourself.
Yeah. Just my Gmail address is just my first name, JASENN @gmail.com.
Awesome.
And you can reach me for any projects.
Great. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you for the plug.
Yep. And don't forget, you can check out all of our other podcasts on our website, certainpov.com. While you're there and checking out all of them out, please be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. Those valuable iTunes reviews are how we get ranked and how more people can find us. And if we get more people to find us, it means we get more downloads. And the reason why we would like that more than just, we enjoy you listening, but we would like more people like you listening as well, is because we would love to honestly do more projects like this, but we can't really really do that unless we get more downloads and can kind of transition more of our time to projects like this. So we'd really appreciate those iTunes reviews and sharing this podcast with other people that you know that are into shows like this. Again, you can go to our website, certainpov.com, and you can check out all of that information there on our website. And until next time, stay scruffy, my nerf herder.